Introducing Grammarly, like you've never seen before. Your all-in-one writing essential. With Grammarly, your writing isn't...
Okay guys, so in this video, we're going to be talking about models and one-to-many relationships. But before we even do that, people always say, we need to go deep, Teddy, deeper. And we're going to go... So if you are familiar with .NET in any capacity, I guarantee you've heard this acronym before. DTO. DTO stands for Data Transfer Object. And the thing about DTOs is that anything in programming could be defined as a DTO because the term is so vague. But in the context of .NET Core and in the context of making APIs, 90% of DTOs are going to fall under this response request DTO format. And all a DTO really does is it spruces up your DTO. Many times you don't want to return a whole entire object back to the user. Many times you don't want to place a whole entire huge object inside of your database. You want to trim it down. What exactly do I mean by this? Let's give an example. Let's say that I am trying to return the username back from the API. And we want the username, but the model is going to also consist of a password as well too. And I don't know about you, but we never want to return a password, especially in clear text. So what are we going to do? We have to get rid of this password if we are just going to return the username. And the way that we do that is we make a DTO. The second is going to be the request. Whenever we are submitting data to our API, most of the time we are not going to send data in the whole entire model format. We are going to ask the user, we're going to ask the front end developer to submit data in a particular format. And most of the time, we don't want them to send the whole entire model. So we have DTOs to trim this down, and also so that we can place data annotations on our properties. This is getting a little ahead of ourselves. We are going to talk about data validation in a further video, but Right now, let's just focus on the response and trimming down our DTOs when we return them to the user without AutoMapper. Let's go ahead and hop inside VS Code. Okay, so first things first, let's create our DTO for our stock. And I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to call this DTOs. And I am also going to get ahead, get out in front of this, and actually separate these into different folders because you're going to be creating a lot of DTOs probably. And you just want to go ahead and start separating these by the model. Different ways that you could do it, but I like doing it like this. Okay, so first thing, we're just going to create our default stock DTO model. Now the stock DTO is going to make it so that when we get responses back, let's just say we don't want to receive our comments. I think everything I think everything looks good in here, but for right now, we don't want to receive comments because we haven't made any comments and we need to practice a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead, go inside of my stock model and transfer all of this over to the stock DTO. Now we do have some data annotations here, but we can go ahead and actually get rid of these and we can rely on the actual model to do the decimal, and we could just leave everything like it is. Now remember, down here is where comments were. Comments were here previously, but comments are no longer going to be transmitted back from the API because let's just say, for instance, we need to get rid of the comments for some reason. Right now, we're just building out. We're going to bring comments back, but right now, we're just practicing. So we're going to do this without AutoMapper. I actually have borrowed a lot of this from Java. The way that I do mappers is very Java-esque, and you could totally do this with AutoMapper, but I'm not the biggest AutoMapper fan, and I think it's just easier just to create mappers on your own. So what I'm going to do is create a stock mappers.class right here, and I'm going to put all of my mappers in this class. Also, these are going to be extension methods, so we're going to have to declare this static, and we need to go down here, and we're going to create our very first method. And let me see here. So static, we will return our stock DTO because this is the type of data that we want back. And we're going to call this to stock DTO. And the great thing about .NET is because these are extension methods, these look awesome. I wish Java did something like this. With Java, you just have to create functions to do this, but with .NET, you can easily just create little extension methods and they look awesome. So we're going to go ahead, since we want to return a stock DTO, we're going to return a new stock DTO down here. And let's go ahead and type it all out. So go ID, this is going to be stock model, and we're going to actually return the ID. We do want the ID. And feel free to trim out anything that you don't want. Maybe you don't want the symbol. Maybe you don't want the company name. You could easily trim these, and it'll make it so that you won't get back a certain type of data that you don't put in here. But if you do put this in here, what's going to happen is that it's method. You're going to be a little confusing. Figure it out. Keep going back. Stock model able to it.
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus. And this is your brain when you're in the zone, but getting in the zone.
Cap. And that is pretty much it. So what we need to do now is we need to go back to our stock controller. So what we need to do is we need to go into here, and we're going to do a select. Now, you can't actually just tag this to stock DTO on the end of it like this. You have to do a select, and a select, if you're coming from the world of JavaScript, a select is pretty much a mapper. So I'm assuming you may have already completed the React portion of this. A select is .NET's version of map. So it's going to return a immutable array or an immutable list of this to stock DTO. Otherwise, if we just try to tack it onto the list, it's a list of things, and it's expecting just a solo stock DTO. So if you want to be able to actually